We'll start with the second class of the DSP there. Okay, last class I think we have completed about the discrete Fourier transform. Today we'll just derive the expression for that discrete Fourier transform itself with the help of frequency domain sampling. The concept what we are going to study today is frequency domain sampling and reconstruction of discrete time signal. So here, now let us consider a non-periodic discrete time signal which is represented by small x of n, and its Fourier transform is given by capital X of omega, which is equal to summation of n is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity small x of n e raised to minus j omega n. This is the standard definition of the Fourier transform of a given signal x of n. Now this capital X of w, we name it as before sampling. So what is now sampling? One of the important concept what we have here today is that we want to send a signal to any destination. We have to sample it. We cannot send the continuous signal at a time. We sample the signal and transmit it to the other end. So the other end will receive that and desample it and it recovers back. But how it is done? There are three important concepts which we are going to study there one by one. Now first let us understand the derivation of that particular discrete Fourier, that is a discrete time signal there. Where omega here, whatever we have represented, e raised to minus j omega n, is in the range of 0 to 2 pi. Okay, now we can see a non-periodic signal waveform as I have shown it, varying with respect to omega. Now as we are saying it is varying with respect to omega, we have the range of 0 to 2 pi. So 0 to 2 pi, 2 pi to 4 pi, like that. Even in negative side we have 0 to minus 2 pi. So this is the discrete non-periodic signal what it has there. Now we'll divide that periodic signal into a n samples. N samples in the sense we divide that particular signal, that is 0 to 2 pi, into n number of times with the equidistance, that is the equal spaced between the 2 points. So it is represented by delta omega, which is equal to 2 pi by n, as you can see it in the figure. So that is the equidistant sample when we are sampling it between 0 to 2 pi there. Okay. Now let us substitute the value of that sampled omega by 2 pi by n in the above equation. So we have 2 pi by n k, where k is again 0 to n minus 1 what we have. So after substitution, this equation 2, we call it as after sampling. So these are the two important representation what you can just go through there. X of omega is nothing but before sampling, equation 1, whereas a capital X of 2 pi by n k after sampling. These are the two expressions which we are going to get it. So now let us divide that non-periodic, that's the infinite sequence, into a n number of samples. Now when infinite sequences are there, we get n number of sequences that we are representing in terms of the summation. So let us check it out, that one. So we can see in the other equation, capital X of 2 pi by nk is equal to 3 summations I have just shown, where each summation is carried out over n samples. So each summation consists of n number of samples. Now let us see how it is being represented. As we have seen the 3 summations we have just shown. First let us see n is equal to 0 to n minus 1, where summation of n is equal to 0 to n minus 1 small x of n into e raised to minus j 2 pi n k by capital N. This is the standard definition of that particular DFT. The above what we have just taken for 1n sample. Like that we have 2n, 3n, 4n till the infinite samples. Even in the negative side we have that samples. Now if you just check it out, n is equal to 0 to n minus 1. What is the next value? Next value is n. So see the next summation, that the last summation what we have, n is equal, small n is equal to capital N, varying from 2n minus 1. So summation is varying from capital N to 2n minus 1. Again, the inside term of summation is same, x of n e raised to minus j 2 pi nk by capital N. So that is the positive side of a signal. The same way when you go for the negative side of the signal, we have n is equal to 0. What is the before term of n is equal to 0? That is -1. So that becomes the highest number there. So the summation varies from minus n to -1. X of n e raised to minus j 2 pi n k by capital N. Like this, we have to continue for infinite number of times. So we get the expression this one. So this is the representation of this infinite sequence what we have. Now this infinite sequence can also be written in the other form by taking the compact form. So what is that? We'll just analyze here. The above equation can also be written as with the help of two summations there. The infinite numbers can be reduced in by adding one more summation there. That is L is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity. That's the first. So as we are saying, infinite sequence. Whereas the inner summation, what we have taken is summation of small n is equal to small l n to small l n plus n minus 1 x of n e raised to minus j 2 pi n k by capital N. So this is the expression as equation 3. How we got this? For the above infinite equations, what we have shown in that. Let us see whether it is representing the above equation. That's the previous equation what we have shown. Now let us substitute ln, that is a small l, as 0 for the inner summation. When you check it out, what happens? The inner summation becomes n is equal to small n is equal to capital N. In the higher limits becomes n minus 1. So this is one of the equation of the previous summation. You can just check it out here. Now same way, when you just substitute n as, that is a l as minus 1. So what is the lower limit? Small n is equal to minus n raised to, the numerator what happens? Minus n plus n get cancelled. The limit becomes minus 1, which is the lower limit what we have got it in the negative side. Same way, when you substitute L as positive 1, we get the limit from small n is equal to 2n minus 1, which is the third limit summation what we are written in the previous equation there. So this is the form what we are getting, the compact form, that there is infinite sequence is written with the help of one more summation there. So that representation is called as compact form. Okay, now let us change the inner limit to a periodic representation. N is equal to n minus ln for the above equation. Equation 3, let us substitute small n is equal to n minus ln. So when you substitute that in the above equation, what we are going to get, you can observe here I have written, that is summation of L is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity. Inner summation is n is equal to 0 to n minus 1 x of n minus ln. Now in the denominator there is a lower limit also. If you write n minus ln, so ln get cancelled, right? So we are getting that equation. So n minus ln e raised to minus j 2 pi k by n. You substitute the small n value, so n minus ln. Now we expand the exponential term. We are going to get e raised to minus j 2 pi n k by n. One more term is e raised to plus j 2 pi kl. This e raised to plus j 2 pi kl is equal to 1. How? Simple way, convert that to a cosine sine form. So e raised to j theta is nothing but cos theta plus j sine theta. Now same way, if you substitute that, e raised to j 2 pi kl is equal to cos 2 pi kl plus j sine 2 pi kl. So 2 pi, sine of 2 pi or anything is always 0, that term becomes 0, so j term is 0. Cos of 0, pi, 2 pi, anything is nothing, there is an even term is 1, so we have got 1. So substitute that value. So the next equation what we got is capital X of 2 pi by n into k is equal to summation of L is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity. One more summation of n is equal to 0 to n minus 1 x of n minus L into e raised to minus j 2 pi n k by n. So here I have to just change, check it out. So interchange the position of summations. What happens? The n is equal to 0 to n minus 1. Let us write it first, and the infinite terms we will write inside. So once we bring that summation, interchange the position of summation, now we can just change the inner limits as periodic signal. So if you observe periodic what, for the continuous signal, we are representing that with the help of periodic signal. Periodic signal means the sequence repeated every n samples. So the periodic signal with fundamental period n, and that is represented by small x of suffix p in. Okay, so this particular equation is the fourth equation. This is helpful in our figure purpose there. We'll just check it out. Now if you observe in this particular thing, we represent this one as periodic signal. So now if you observe from the non-periodic, we have derived the periodic signal there. Now what happens? How it is called as periodic signal? Now let us check it out. Xp of n, whatever that particular dotted equations are there, I have just written here. L is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity, small x of n minus ln. So this is called as periodic signal. How you substitute the value of L is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity, what we are going to get. So now if you observe in this particular equation, we have got the minus infinity some term plus x of n plus 2n plus x of n plus n plus x of small n plus x of small n minus capital N plus x of small n minus 2n. So like this it goes on continuing. Okay, so here it is not x of x minus 2n, it is x of n minus 2n. Okay, therefore xp of n is the periodic signal with a period of n samples. So this is the periodic sequence what we have. Now as I said, when we are saying a sampling concept, we get here two important concepts which we have to see with the help of waveforms. Let us see what happens here. So signal is either left shifted or right shifted. Now we'll take with the fixed number of samples. Now let us take L as 4 samples. The figure A represent N is equal to L. Okay, which means that we have a 4 samples with a respective magnitude of 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so now that is for N is equal to L. Now if N is greater than L, what happens? What is that N? They're saying it as it is periodic signal. What is the meaning of periodic? As I said, it gets repeated. So now if you observe here, N is a capital L there. L what we have considered, L is fixed, which we have considered as 4. So when it gets repeated, N is equal to 6. Well, it is a multiple of 6. 0, we have 4. At 1, we have 3. At 2, we have 2. At 3, we have 1. After this, 4, 5, there is no sequence. Then again, it starts the sequence. Again, the same sequence. If you observe, whatever the value of x of 0 is there, we are having x of 6. Whatever the value of x of 1 is there, we are having x of 7. Whatever value of x of 2 is there, we are having x of 8. Whatever the value of x of 3 is there, x of 9. Now, if you observe, all the 4 values are repeated every n number of samples. So that's why we represent it as normal sampling there. So there is no aliasing in time domain. So what is that aliasing? Aliasing means overlapping there. Overlapping happens. When the overlapping happens, we can't decode the signal. Now let us take one more example. This is 1 is equal to 4, they're overlapping. Now when is less than L. So now let us take capital N is 3. Now capital N is 3. So 3 is less than 4. Now if you observe the representation, what happens? When x is equal to 0, one value is there. When x is equal to 1, there is no problem. When x is equal to 2, there is no problem. But when you see x is equal to 3, what is happening? When x is equal to 6, what is happening? I have just highlighted with the dotted circular mark. Here what it is showing, the signal gets overlapped. Overlapped in the sense, one value of the previous signal gets overlapped with the one more value of the next signal. When this overlapping happens, what happens is that we lose the data. When we lose the data, it is difficult to recover it. To avoid this overlapping, we have to do sampling. That is oversampling or right sampling. Here, oversampling or right sampling means the value of capital N should always be equal to or greater than the capital L. But generally, when we see the definition, the rule of definition, what it says is that it should be twice the frequency. When you go for the frequency sampling and everything, the sampling frequency should be twice the modulating frequency we say. If it is less than the twice the modulating frequency, overlapping happens. Greater than the twice the frequency, oversampling happens. So when it is oversampling, we can easily recover it. Now, if you see here, for n is equal to 3, it is less than the value of L. At that time, what happens? Overlapping. This overlapping, we name it as aliasing. That's the term what we are going to use it as overlapping. That is the aliasing effect. So these two components get overlapped. That's the drawback in this sampling, which we have to avoid when we are doing it practical. Okay. So this is one of the important conditions what we have it here. Now in the examination, they will ask you to derive the DFT and IDFT equation. So we have just analyze the two sampling equation with the help of non-periodic signal there. Now let us see what is happening there. The number of samples in the frequency spectrum must be always greater. As I already said, it should be greater than or equal to L. So now let us see how it is being derived the expression there. So Fourier series, that's a periodic signal. We have a standard definition given by xp of n is equal to summation of k is equal to 0 to n minus 1 ck e raised to j 2 pi kn by capital N, where n is equal to n minus. Fourier coefficient ck given by 1 by n summation of n is equal to 0 to n minus 1 xp of n e raised to minus j 2 pi kn by n. So this is the expression what we have it. Now if you see the equation 5 and 6, you substitute the value of ck, that is substitute equation 4 in equation 6. So what we are going to get? We are going to get ck as 1 by n capital 2 pi by n k for 0 less than k less than or equal to n minus 1, because our sample is for n number of samples. So this is the expression for the Fourier coefficient what we have got it now. Now substitute that in equation 5, what we are going to get is periodic signal xp of n is equal to 1 by n summation of k is equal to 0 to n minus 1 summation, that is capital X of 2 pi by nk into e raised to j 2 pi nk by capital N, where small n varies from 0 to n minus 1. Now if you observe this particular equation 8, equation 8 is nothing but the standard definition of inverse discrete Fourier transform, which we seen in the previous class. So this is how we recovered the signal, that is reconstruction of a periodic signal xp of n from the sample of the spectrum or the Fourier transform. Now if you observe, initially we have taken the expression as x of omega. From that x of omega, when we sample it, we are going to get this original signal. There is a reconstruction of a periodic signal. The non-periodic signal has been converted to a periodic signal. That's why we have studied this concept there. So in the examination, till you to derive, you have to derive it. And what are the conditions are there? They have to explain it. That is for n is less than or equal to, or less than, greater than or equal to capital N. So now we have to analyze the figure for this one, how that particular waveforms can be represented there. Now for capital N greater than or equal to capital L, we say x of n is equal to xp of n, so that x of n can be recovered from xp of n. So, but for n is less than L, we cannot recover. Why? As we have seen, it gets aliasing. So to avoid aliasing, we have to always use n is greater than or equal to L when we are using the spectrum analysis. Now let us derive the waveform. The procedure to compute the periodic signal, we have x of n is given by equal to xp of n for 0 less than or equal to n minus 1. That is a value from 0 to n minus 1. In other cases, but x of omega can be computed from equation 1. So equation 1 is what we, as I had written here, x of omega is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity x of n e raised to minus j omega n. So in continuous time signal, it is possible to express the spectrum x of omega directly in terms of its samples. So now that samples, as we have seen, 2 pi k by n, that is the sampled Fourier transform expression. So derive such an interpolation formula. Let us consider x of omega. We assume that n is always greater than or equal to capital N. And let us begin with the expression periodic signal xp of n, where xp of n is nothing but x of n. Now substitute this x of n is equal to 1 by n summation of k is equal to 0 to n minus x of 2 pi k by n e raised to j 2 pi n value. So now let us substitute of n in the omega equation, that is the equation 1 as shown in the above. So x of omega is equal to summation of n is equal to 0 to n minus 1, 1 by n of k is equal to 0 to n minus 1, x of 2 pi k by n e raised to j 2 pi k n by n multiplied by e raised to minus j omega n. So interchange the position of summation. We have got this particular expression. Capital X of omega is equal to summation of k is equal to 0 to n minus 1. Capital X of 2 pi by n k whole bracket 1 by n summation of n is equal to 0 to n minus 1 e raised to minus j 2 pi k by n multiplied by n. Now above equation represent basic interpolation function shifted by 2 pi n. How we come to know? If you observe the exponential term, omega is shifted by 2 pi k. So this is what omega is nothing but frequency domain. So it is an interpolation formula what we have. So now we define this interpolation formula. P of omega is equal to 1 by n summation of n is equal to 0 to n minus 1 e raised to minus j omega n. So if you see the lemma equation, we have derived this 1 minus e raised to minus j at 1 minus e raised to j omega. Now 1 is can also be written, as you can observe here, is outside. So summation that 1 is represented by e raised to j omega n to minus j omega n by 2. So that is the one how it is represented. Now e raised to minus j omega n can also be written as e raised to minus j omega n by 2 dot e raised to minus j omega n by 2. Same way denominator is also written. Now you take the common term e raised to minus j omega n by 2, the numerator, and e by 2 in the denominator. We have got this above expression. So this particular equation is nothing but sine equation. So sine of omega n by 2, where sine of omega by 2 in the denominator. So this is the general interpolation formula what we have derived it. For n is greater than or equal to L. So x of omega is equal to summation of k is equal to 0 to n minus 1 capital X of 2 pi by n into k dot p into, that is multiplied by p into omega minus 2 pi k by n. Okay. Now here the how this particular waveform, the expression is represented. Interpolation p of omega is not familiar to sine theta by theta, but instead it is periodic counterpart of it, and it is due to the periodic nature of x of omega. So if you observe here, it is not in the form of our required sinc function, that is sine theta by theta. So it is derived from a periodic function, that is a periodic nature x of omega. How we have derived the waveforms, you can just take it out. The phase shift in interpolation p of omega reflects the fact that signal x of n is causal in nature. So causal in the nature in the sense positive value at what you're considering the finite duration sequence of length L. Therefore, the function sine of omega n by 2 divided by sine of omega by 2, the figure is drawn. This is the figure for this particular function. If you observe, and in the right hand side and left hand side, both it is varying in the same format. So we observe that function p of omega has a property by given by p of 2 pi by n into k is equal to 1 for k is equal to 0, and it is 0 for other cases. So in interpolation formula, x of omega summation of k is equal to 0 to n minus 1, x of 2 pi by n k multiplied with polarization formula, that is p of omega minus 2 pi k by n for n greater than L, gives exactly the sampled value of the frequency transformation function. So this is how we recovered, that is a reconstruction of a discrete Fourier transform signal with the help of a non-periodic signal there. So at all other frequencies, the formula provides a properly weighted linear combination of original spectral samples.